Hollywood is ruining cinema with its wokeism. And it's all just a bunch of. Recently, I've been watching a lot of films and they've just been sucking. And I mean, I'm not taking a jab at them simply because I'm in a bad mood or anything like that. There's always been a need for representation. Of course, there's always been a need to cash into any sort of movement or trend that makes Hollywood seem like it's relevant, current, and Hollywood producers relate with society. But that all comes at a cost, and that cost comes in the form of storytelling. I watched The Eternals. Sucked. I watched, and for the love of cinema, I watched The Matrix. I watched reviews from people, from friends, from industrial connections, from stuntmen, from directors, from producers, from video editors. And they kind of were hanging in there as I watched it, as I listened to them when they wrote their reviews on social media. And they were really, really looking forward to the film, just like I was looking forward to the film, because I'm a fan of The Matrix. Anybody who's a fan of The Matrix knows exactly what it represents. Now, I went in there all in hoping that this isn't one of those things where you watch or listen to a review, or where I read some critical reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and I watch the film and I actually like it as opposed to what the critics are saying. So I was crossing my fingers for this film because I really, really love it and I love Keanu Reeves. But however, as I watched it and as it progressed, it was like waiting for something to happen. And when something seemed like it was just about to happen, oh boy, did it happen. And it happened big time.
Yes, The Matrix Resurrections isn't a lot of things, but the one thing it certainly is, terrible.
What are we talking about? We're talking about a film where Keanu Reeves is Neo. Neo happens to be the one. We know the one to be the savior of mankind versus the machine, the man who changed the game. Yeah. So he came back to life. He had forgotten who he was for some reason. He had to come back to the Matrix, but he wasn't quite himself. He was himself, but sort of not really, kind of. He almost kind of got there, but didn't. Then there was Trinity, who sort of, in a way, interchangeably sort of became the one of some sort, or a different kind of the one, which kind of became confusing because now I'm not really quite sure what's really going on here. Like, what's going on? Okay, so Keanu Reeves can't kind of fly now, though he can stop bullets. Because what kind of got him to realize that he could do all these weird things and defy gravity and so on? Well, you know, it's the Matrix. It's your world. You make it whatever you want. So he can stop bullets and he can still somehow regurgitate some of that inner power or inner Matrix-ism of some sort that he can just sort of like with his hands or something. At the moment when he thinks the love of his life, Trinity, is in danger, or he gets reminded that he has to rescue her or something, somehow just sort of his power goes from 10% to like 100 in like a split second. In the name of love, baby, okay? That's what happens. Love is powerful. Okay, so we get that. But he still couldn't fly. Which was like a thing. It's kind of like Superman not flying. You know what I mean? That was like a thing. And somehow in the end, Trinity could somehow manage to fly. How did that happen? How is it that Trinity can fly, but Neo, who's supposed to be the one, cannot fly for some reason? I'll tell you what happened. I'll break it down for you. Okay, Lana, who happens to be the producer. Is she the director too? Let me just make sure of that. Okay, so it was directed by Lana Wachowski, formerly known as Larry Wachowski, okay, who obviously went through a gender transition of some sort and follow up on that in terms of their personal lives, their background and so on. So, okay, fine, whatever, gender transition, all that nonsense. Okay, so yeah, pretty much hardcore liberals, hardcore live your life wokeism, expect a lot of that. So what do we do here? Basically, we've got a creative behind a film that was notoriously and meritoriously known to have been a game changer in cinema, filmmaking. And then you've got this whole gender situation that's going on and whatever. So what happens? What kind of time are we living in? The age of wokeism. What is wokeism? Liberated, embrace whatever alternative lifestyle. And you want to change genders, change genders. You want to love whoever you want, whatever, same sex, marriage, relationships, whatever you call it. All for Black Lives Matter and everything. Hey, nothing wrong with that, right? Okay, cool. It's all liberal. It's all everything. It's all anti-godly, anti-biblical, anti-religion, anti-everything else that is God. Because it's all about people. It's all about whatever people want. That's what it is. Let's not act like we don't know what we're talking about here. That's just what it is, okay? So, fine. So what do we do when we make a film with that in mind? Let's not make Neo the hero in here. Let's make Lana the hero. Cool, let's make her fly and be the one to rescue them in the end. When they've got nowhere to go, she's gonna be the one to fly. So it's not Neo who's gonna be flying, it's Lana. Not Lana, sorry, Trinity. Now I'm getting confused, man. This is all gender confusion thing, okay? Let's make Trinity. Let's make Trinity the hero, okay? Female empowerment, yes. Female empowerment, let's inclusivity, okay? Instead of Neo, not Keanu Reeves, because Keanu is the male figure. Let's not make male dominance the protagonist that dominates the story here. Let's make the female the one who brings a sense of presence of not, oh, they want to be rescued and everything. So a sense of feminism in there, hey? Okay, we don't need another male hero or whatever. Okay, cool. Just throw that all in there, why don't you, huh? And why is it that I was sensing a lot of, for some reason, I was sensing a lot of, it could just be me, but, a little flamboyant vibes from the movie. Morpheus and his flamboyance and the dress code and everything. There's something about that. I was sensing that for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just me or it's just me. When Mr. Anderson was being addressed by Smith, there was this tension between them that I was just not really understanding. Like, what was going on between those two? Like you and I kind of thing. The whole close-up thing that looked like they're about to like make out. For some, like, guys, I'm not kidding. I'm like, yo, bro, what is going on here? It was just the weirdest thing ever. The vibe was just off and everything. The interaction between the characters. Like, I thought it was just me, but once I kind of looked this up, I had actually forgotten that Lana was previously a dude. Okay, it was like the dude. It was before the whole gender transition thing. So I was like, oh wait. When I looked this up, like I thought Lana is like the sister of the Wachowski brothers. Did I remember that there was a whole gender transition thing, and I'm like, oh wait. Oh, now it's starting to make sense. No wonder why the film was just not making sense, because it was just off. So what am I saying here, basically? Okay, when you screw around with art, there's just something about it that just goes off, and the audiences will feel it. The audiences know when the story is just off, because it doesn't make sense anymore. So in the name of wokeism, you end up screwing up with this piece of art, this story, this film that represents a whole lot more than your own personal vision. But then again, yeah, it's your film. You direct it, you produce it, you do whatever you want with it. But I guess it's just like Quentin Tarantino said, Hollywood thinks that, well, opinion is more important than art.
If somebody brings up something that actually is legitimate, I'll even have a conversation with them about it, because I'm actually into interesting thought, and I don't have to even agree with you. Oh, but that's an interesting point. There has become a thing that's gone on, it seems like in this, especially this last year, where ideology is more important than art.
Way more, certainly to the awards.
Yeah. And it's just, it's like, ideology
Right.
trumps art. Ideology trumps individual effort. Ideology trumps good. Ideology trumps entertaining.
Ideals are more important than art, which basically means that cinema is just not really important anymore. A lot of people might not really understand it, and I don't think a lot of people are qualified to really have this kind of discussion because they don't really get it. But for those who do understand the craft of filmmaking, why these things are important, yeah, it becomes really disappointing, because it just becomes just that, a really disappointing thing. Don't get me started about the Marvel situation, where they're also just sort of pandering to us all this stuff. Because I watched that, what the hell do they even call it? The Eternals or something? Yeah, it's eternally garbage. That's what it is. I mean, the whole representation thing, it's like being shoved down your throat and all thing, and the gay scene where the two dudes were kissing. Like, I've seen that before, but I've never been more cringed out by that than when I just saw that. Like those two dudes were just like so uncomfortable. They were just like waiting to be like, okay, come on, let's just get over with it, man. It's a paycheck. Okay, no, you kiss me. No, you kiss me. No, you go first. No, you go. Okay, they just kind of like walking out their lines and everything, trying to align each other's lips. They just get up. Boom. Okay, get over with it. It was like the quickest scene ever. It was like so fast, you cannot see through it. Even some of the lines that were used, they were like so. Eternals was sort of like an experiment that turned out to be an experiment, and just that, I really didn't like it. I don't think the story was there even a story there. I don't even know what's going on. Oh, I don't know. Listen, hands down, it is what it is. We know what Hollywood does. That's just what happened. Hollywood is always gonna pander, try to cash in on everything and so on. Do they really care about race? Do they care about, gender equality? Do they really care about the LGBTQ community and so on? Dude, what do you really think? They care about the money. They care about money. They don't care about any of that. They care about where the money goes, where the money flows. Okay? Money knows no gender, no race, no sexuality, or sexual orientation, and all that. Money doesn't know any of that. Okay? So, yes, they sort of pander towards that. And what does it all lead down to? The problem here, ladies and gentlemen, the stories, the film, the integrity of the stories become compromised to a point where you're just watching something else where you don't even know what's really going on. Why am I paying money to really watch this? What's going on? Am I watching some political agenda? Or am I watching a film, a story? Films are meant to be a form of escapism. We watch them, we appreciate the beauty of cinema, we appreciate the storytelling. Unless if that's what the story is really about, then don't make the film about that. You don't do that. If you want to make your film about that, then fine, we understand that because that's what you're really kind of pushing for. But you got to understand that when you start mixing and tangling stuff up that don't belong together, you're all just sort of like cooking everything like breakfast, lunch, supper all in one pot, and you're expecting some kind of grandiose recipe formed out of that, and you want to serve me that, like, yo, I'm really gonna be confused. Okay, yeah, maybe there's some people that kind of like, yay, representation, we love to see that. Okay, go to sleep. The rest of us, nah, not feeling it. It is what it is. A lot of people probably didn't even read all these things that I'm saying on screen, especially for the Matrix, but for some reason, you just know when the ending was off. I was waiting for the ending as I was watching the film. A lot of the people said the ending will leave you kind of confused. A lot. It's off-putting in some way. So I was wondering what is it about it that was really off-putting about the film, as I was like holding onto my seat, like, please, I want to love this movie because it's getting somewhere. Yeah, I think I understand why. I get it now. So what? It wasn't great. Was it good-ish? Probably. But it's one of those films where you wanna like it, and for some reason, it just ends up delivering just that, something you wanna like. But for some reason, there's something that's making you not to like it. In as much as you might think that, well, you know what, they can do whatever they want, they can experiment. Where is this really all going in the end? Our audience is gonna really respond to some of these things. I'm not gonna watch the Eternals if there's gonna be a second one. I don't even know how it's doing right now. I don't even know how it performed in terms of the box office. Am I gonna be keen to watch The Matrix? I might let it slide or pass if I'm gonna be seeing a lot more of this drivel. I'm not looking forward to watching it because I kind of see where the thinking is going. So that's exactly what's going to be happening. People are going to be pulling away more and more from a lot of this, from the cult of cinema and the cult of all these legendary characters that we grew up adoring. And that if all these producers keep pushing all these things and they think it's kind of harmless, well, it is quite harmful. People are not really growing interested in Hollywood, thinking they can just do whatever they want. Oh yeah, it does hurt your money in the end. You see, in this world, you can't agree with everybody. You can't satisfy everybody. In your attempts to satisfy everybody, you're gonna piss off somebody. The only people who make everybody happy are the people that don't stand for something. It is what it is. Well, thanks, folks. Thought I'd make this film because you know what? This is my industry. been in the industry since forever, been studying it, been a student of it for the last 25 years. And yeah, I just couldn't let this one slide, I suppose. But hey, God bless you guys. Peace.